Dai Matías, good morning. Dai Karaya, good evening. Seneko Kakona, many blessings. Mucho bendiciones a ustedes. Namaste to one and all. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 12. This week, with all these subtle shifts and mindfulness practices that I've been sharing along with you and guiding you with this book and sharing some yoga philosophies and all the other yoga therapy tips that I've learned along the way through life. I've been called out to nature a lot more. I did promise that I would be very authentic and very vulnerable along the way with this journey that you have agreed and committed to come along with me since October 10th. And if you are here with me thus far, I thank you. But it has been very subtle, very deep. This has been a journey that I've been on for many, many years. And rereading this book with you all has allowed me to feel even more subtle shifts. So I thank you for this opportunity. And let's begin today, shall we? Today, day 12, the F word. Not that F word, but forgiveness. Forgiveness is like air. We need it to survive. The miracle mindset requires a serious commitment to forgiveness and the process by first forgiving yourself. Carrying a past resentment towards yourself is what has kept you stuck in old fear patterns and has held you from living a free-flowing life of love. Maybe you cannot move forward in your career because you can't forgive yourself for making mistakes in the past. Or maybe you cannot forgive yourself for hurting someone in the past and now you're afraid of intimacy altogether. The guilt you carry around keeps you stuck in the past and afraid of the future. A Course in Miracles says, holding no prisoner to guilt, we become free. When we lock ourselves with guilt and shame, and it all depends, in yoga therapy, I've learned that different types of shames allows us to create different protection mechanisms, different lenses to walk along our life path, walk along our life path and react in different ways. And then we are required to even question ourselves a little bit more. And I don't mean question ourselves in self-doubt and in fear, but what we've been doing in these past couple of days, being self-reflective, sitting down with support, looking at what fear has to talk to us about, looking at what's within us. Okay, let's go back to the book. Today's practice will be the first step towards setting yourself free from the bondage of self-attack and guilt. You may have no idea how to begin the self-forgiveness process. Try not to get hung up about the how. Instead, allow. Trust that your inner guide has your back and is leading you on this path. When you accept forgiveness as your plan for happiness, then love will lead the way. Surrender to today's exercise and allow miracles to occur naturally. Let's throw down the F word with your morning reflection. Today, we begin with a morning reflection that will ignite your self-forgiveness practice. Sit comfortably in your meditation space. I was already called to come to my meditation space this morning. Nature is it. Find yours wherever it is. Breathe deeply in through your nose and exhale out through the nose. If you're going to breathe out through your mouth, remember it's like candles. We're trying to increase the nitric oxide. I know I repeat myself a lot in every of these videos, but it's a beautiful, friendly reminder that we are trying to go deep and subtle. And the air exchange is deep within our cellular makeup. And we're trying to bring these words into that deep cellular makeup of ours. It's kind of like we're changing our DNA. from oozing fear to being magnets of love, both giving and receiving. When you're ready, read the passage, then sit for 1 minute of stillness and marinate in the message. For today, I commit to letting go of my past. In this moment, I choose to release all the pent-up anger and resentment I have placed on myself. I welcome even a moment of release. I forgive myself for my past, my present, and my future. I trust that I am loved and that all my love experiences have been divinely placed for me to learn and grow. I've done the best I can with my life circumstances. And today, the best I can do is forgive. I forgive myself today. Your affirmation for today. I forgive myself for having this thought. I choose love instead. Today's affirmation is a forgiveness affirmation that I suggest you use for the rest of your life. Oh, it's something I constantly have to talk about myself with. When a negative thought, a fear-based experience comes in, a shame, a deep feeling of guilt, of past guilt comes up, I forgive myself for my poor choices, my bad decisions that I made back then when I was ignorant, when I didn't know any better. And I tell myself and embrace myself daily by saying, I'm learning to do better each and every day. I'm learning to do better each and every minute. I'm learning to do better each and every second. And because of my commitment of learning to do better, I can do better. And I am the loving person I was destined to be. So she's right here. This is a daily commitment for the rest of your life. When you chose this journey to come along with me, this wasn't a journey that was going to end in 40 days. This is a journey that would start 40 days, but that will continue if you choose for the rest of your life. I say it all throughout the day, every day. It's the wind. When a fearful thought comes through my mind, I replace it with my F word affirmation. Throughout the day, when you notice yourself fill up with fear or self-resentment, simply say, I forgive myself for having this thought. I choose love instead. Forgiving the ego for having a particular negative thought is a very powerful tool. In the moment that you forgive the thought, you're acknowledging that you are not your fear. You can see the fear for what it really is. An ego projection you've chosen to believe. Not who you truly are. You aren't your fear. You aren't your guilt. You aren't your shame. Those are just lessons placed in you to continue to send implicit messages. And those implicit messages are just messages within your programming, within your coding, within your database that you placed in to help protect you from other things. Remember what I mentioned before, that fear in IFS is your protector. It's part of you that's trying to teach you either a lesson, help you to remember something that occurred that hurt you along the way. And shame is that thought processes that entangled itself with fear and guilt. Each time you offer yourself this affirmation, you strengthen your self-love. In some cases, you may not even realize that fear has you in a headlock. For instance, many people walk around all day judging and attacking themselves and others with small but powerful negative thoughts. This is the ego's fear taking over. Have you ever been around people that you think are just addicted to negativity? They're just oozing it out. They just have no choice. They feel they're not themselves if they ain't judging someone or judging themselves and nitpicking or being whatever. Just think about it, that their cellular makeup oozes negativity. They haven't had the opportunity to learn how to love and embrace love and receive love so that way they can give love. That's why this is deep, everyone. We're changing our cellular makeup to align ourselves with the energy around us. And if you read some of the extras from yesterday's description in the YouTube and in the Vimeo channels, it takes a lot of positives to eradicate a negative. So let's go back to the book. This is the ego's fear taking over. Or you may be thinking negatively towards someone who has hurt you. The ego has convinced you to believe that this hurt warrants attack. But in truth, the negative thoughts are only harming you more. Become mindful of the ways you attack, judge, separate, and replay negativity in your mind. Then, throughout the day, respond to your fear-driven thoughts with affirmation. I forgive myself for having this thought. I choose love instead. Now, I'm going to be vulnerable here again. As a PTSD survivor, individual, because of a sexual assault I've suffered many years ago, when I read this the first time, I was highly triggered. I felt she was trying to wipe away the hurt, the pain that I felt during the sexual assault, that I was giving an out, an excuse to the individual that hurt me, to the individual that took my essence without my permission. I thought that this was part of my shame, part of my harmful. This is me. It's my fault once again for putting myself in this stupid situation that got me in that particular place. But that is not what she's saying here. After a lot of therapy, after yoga therapy, this is not what she's saying here. That is not my trigger anymore. I remember the pain that I felt because that was my anger part of me, to remind me the injustice of that action, the robbing of myself. And when love surrounded the situation in the lenses, in explaining what she's trying to say here, oh, excuse me, so I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera. What in reality, what I did was that I embraced myself in love and say that I am angry because that individual thought it was okay to violate my space, violate my body, violate my spirit, violate my mind. But I love myself enough to not forget that experience, but not to allow that experience to rob me of my future joy, to rob me of my future love, to rob me of my happiness. Because then that means I'm giving it all to that experience, I'm giving it all to that individual, and that individual can continuously SA me, grape me every time. I had to take a moment there and give myself a break because that was highly intense. When she was talking about here, is that not allowing that loop, that story to stay in my mind and become that, because I am more than that experience. I am more than that SA. I'm more than that. I'm not that. I'm not that person. That experience doesn't identify me. I am a loving individual. So when I practice self-love, when I practice forgiveness, for me is to embrace myself deeper in a loving relationship. It doesn't excuse the action, it doesn't make an excuse for the other person either. It's for you, it's a gift for you. Before we turn the page, let's continue. Now that you're settling back in from your day, take time to reflect on the power of your affirmation. Answering the following questions will help you internalize the work. It can be powerful to reflect on your inner journey so that you can witness your growth. Remember that the true change occurs in the subtle shifts. Therefore, highlight and honor even the simplest change. I gave you a little snippet of what it did to me. I'm sorry I went on a tangent. Oh, it wants me to turn the page so badly. All right, let's continue. Answer the following questions in your journal. How did it feel? How did it feel to see your fearful thoughts as a separate from you? Well, I can answer that for you right now. When I felt my fearful thoughts, it felt like a burden was lifted off my shoulders, off my heart. I was able to breathe just a little bit more, a little bit deeper, and have a conversation with it and see what it's trying to teach me versus becoming me. I felt lighter. How did it feel for you? What kind of relief did you experience from practicing your affirmation? Oh, I felt a sense of letting go. Let's do number 2 again. Sorry, my dogs found something that distracted them. The beauty of being outside, right? I'll just embrace it all. What kind of relief did you experience from practicing your affirmation? As I was saying before, it felt like I was letting go. Something that I was carrying, I was able to put down. Like if I was carrying a big sack of heavy potatoes, I was able to finally drop 20 pounds or just release that weight that I was carrying for a while. Did your affirmation stop you from acting out with self-destructive behaviors? Oh, yes, definitely for me. I was my own little energy vampire. I really was. I was when that saying comes, hurt people, hurt people. Oh, I wanted people that hurt me to feel every inch. And I was walking around with a big chip on my shoulders. There are days that I don't even eat. I just drink water. I just stay in my bed, just totally in a funk because I'm so scared of being hurt again or I'm reliving that loop. And I learned that if I did yoga, come outside, get my space, open up my window of tolerance, open up my space to receiving more energy that I need. Um, wow, I was able to feel myself up. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it's about a doctor and it's an author who documented his studies of veterans that were suffering from PTSD. And what he was saying, what he was observing from those veterans, I felt myself. I experienced myself after the essay. And yoga therapy was able to unlock a lot of trauma and shame and guilt and fear-based thoughts. And I was able to have conversations with all of them. Yes, you're right. Um, I believe in no little coincidences, sorry. And when the wind turned the page, it says go big and expect miracles for tomorrow. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. As I continue to work on my journey, work on myself, changing my narrative, changing my glasses to feeling more loving to myself, a shift began to change in my life. So, yes, self destructive behaviors, I was able to see them for what they were and help me to feel like me again. Number 4, are you committed to practicing the self forgiveness affirmation all the time? I already said yes. What about you? Okay, I'll stop being vulnerable and go back to the book. Looking closely at today's practice helps you center into the progression of the work. It is important to reflect on your journey. The shifts occur naturally, and shining light on them allows you to celebrate your change. Remember always to look at your practice from a loving perspective. The ego, I said ego, haha, ego will want to sabotage your hard work and find fault in everything. Be mindful of this and remain the non-judgmental witness of your powerful transformation. To complete this exercise, let's close the day with a prayer, a request, an announcement to the world, an announcement to the universe. Sit comfortably in your meditation space and recite the following out loud. Divine guidance that surrounds me, I welcome your support. I recognize where my mind has gone wrong, or I don't like that word. I'll just continue reading and then I'll change it. And I can see how unforgiving I have been. I see my part in creating this. Now we can turn the page. Pattern of self-destruction, and I welcome Spirit to step in. I am willing to see love instead of this. Thank you for your guidance in my self-forgiveness practice. I will listen to my intuition, show up for my spiritual assignments, and do all that is necessary to love myself again. Show me what you got. All right, so this is a request. So let's change what I kind of hesitated with, okay? Universe, divine guidance, inner self, higher guide, ancestors, earth, air, wind, fire, water, whatever resonates with you, that surrounds me. I welcome your support. I recognize where fear has driven me off the path of love. And I can see how unforgiving I have been. I see my part in creating this pattern of self-destruction. And I welcome Spirit to step in. I welcome you all to step in. I am willing to see love instead of this. Thank you for your guidance in my self-forgiveness practice. I will listen to my intuition, show up for my mindfulness assignments, and do all that is necessary to love myself again. Show me what you got. So that was our day for today. It's a lot of deep work. Forgiveness isn't easy, not even when it's for us. So I leave you with this rainbow triangle while I continue to enjoy the outside with my dogs. May you enjoy your meditation space, your time, your life, this moment. I love you guys. Thank you for listening to my vulnerability. Thank you for sharing this walk with me. Thank you for walking this path with me. Love you all. I wish you well. Until next time.